We woke up to a winter wonderland. We were so lucky to have warm weather Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so we didn't have to worry about traveling with snow, you know, on the roads and stuff, so that was nice. And then yesterday was Sunday. We exchanged gifts with Paul and Jan, and then got home around 9:45. Wasn't snowing or nothing. Woke up this morning, and voila. Blanketed in fresh, sparkly white and very heavy snow. You can hear it crunching under my feet. So I helped Kevin shovel because it was really heavy snow, but now he's got the neighbor's tractor and he's doing everyone's driveways. So yeah, 'tis a winter wonderland today. It's so pretty though, you have to admit. Alright guys, I'm going into the studio to do the drawing for Vlogmas. So I'm really excited about that. See you on the other side of the door. Hey friends, welcome to Vlogmas, the aftermath. We're going to have a couple more videos that pertain to Vlogmas because we still have the Q&A to do, and then today I'm doing the drawing for the winners, the 3 winners of the original paintings. If your name is drawn, what you need to do is email me at teresakogut3@gmail.com. It's right here. If you look up now, you can write it down. It's also in the description box below, so if you miss it here in the video, you can always email me that way. The 3 winners have to email me all 22 keywords from all the different Vlogmas videos. Okay, there's 22 keywords. So, I have to also hear from you by Wednesday, the 29th. Today is Monday. I'm going to give you all day Tuesday and Wednesday. So if I don't hear from you by Wednesday at midnight, I will be drawing another name, okay? That might sound harsh, but I need to wrap up Vlogmas. I need to get this done, and I feel it's fair if I give you 48 hours to get in touch with me, okay? So I'm going to insert the YouTube random comment picker here. Vlogmas 23 was the one that you had to watch to know how to get entered into the drawing. So let's go to that video now. And what I have to do is copy the link or the web address. Copy. Go into the YouTube random comment picker. So I'm drawing 3 winners' names. Okay, right here I put in the website address. And there was no specific text or word, you just had to make a comment. So let's get the YouTube comments on that particular video is the one you had to comment on. So 172 comments. Excuse me. So we're going to come over here and hit start. Let's see who our first winner is. The first winner is Danielle Becker. She said, Merry Christmas, Teresa and Kevin. I absolutely loved watching all of your Vlogmas videos and all of the special things you shared with us. You have such a generous soul. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much, Danielle. What a sweet comment. You know what? I got to write her name down. So Danielle gets first choice out of all of the originals that I showed on Vlogmas Day 23. So let's see who our second winner is. Pick another winner. Our second winner is Terry Connor. Thank you for doing Vlogmas. I looked forward to it every day. I'm very glad you are planning to do one more painting with a reading on Christmas. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Terry, so much for watching all the Vlogmas videos. All right, let's pick a third winner. The third winner is Dorja 5 Links. Merry Christmas. Have a blessed holiday and healthy New Year. Thank you very much. Same to you. I'm going to guess it's like Doreen and Jeff. So congratulations. You get the third choice. Congratulations to all 3 winners. Congratulations, Danielle, Terry, and Dorja. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you so much to everybody that watched our Vlogmas and commented and just really participated. You guys were awesome with your comments and then the Q&A, all the questions that came in. We're still getting questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer a few of the questions here in this video. Sometime this week, when Kevin and I are down here at the same time, we will finish up the Q&A that involves him. And then I'm probably going to do like a whole separate video and finish all of the Q&As because like I said, there's still questions coming in and I want to grab those as well. So yeah. Okay. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday with their family and their friends, and we had an amazing Christmas and we're still celebrating. So I learned something interesting about my Catholic faith. So I was not born Catholic. We went to a Presbyterian church when I was growing up, and then there was a long period where I didn't go to church, and then I met and fell in love with Kevin, and we got married. And we were married, I don't know, a year or two, and I just really wanted to go to church. So I said, your mom goes to church every Sunday, let's go with her. So we started to go to Holy Rosary and sit with his mom during Mass. And I still didn't become Catholic right away. We were married 5 years before we had any children together. So Kyle, when he was born, I think he was about a year old when we got him baptized Catholic. So at that point, my husband's Catholic, now our son is Catholic, and you know, my mother-in-law's Catholic, and I'm going to the Catholic church every week, you know. So I ended up going through the RCIA program, which is just a conversion of heart and just learning about the Catholic faith and traditions and all of the things that are so beautiful about the Catholic faith. It's just, I love it. I really love, I feel so, it's just, it's my home. It's my home. I guess that's all the best I can explain it. But I'm still learning about the Catholic faith. You know, there's a lot of traditions throughout history about the Catholic faith. So our priest on Christmas Eve, I think it was, Christmas Day. It was Christmas Day. We didn't go to Christmas Eve. There wasn't Mass on Christmas Eve, or maybe, I don't know. Anyways, we went to Mass on Christmas Day morning. And he was talking about the octave, which is the 8 days starting with Christmas and then the 8 days after. And I just found it fascinating. You look it up. I'll have a link below if you're interested. But, you know, I had spoke earlier in one of the Vlogmases about the 12 days of Christmas that we keep our tree up until the Epiphany. And so that is on January 6th, which if you count Christmas to January 6th or January 6th is 12 days. Okay. So it's the 12 days of Christmas, but the octave is something a little bit different. So I learned about that. Didn't know what the heck. I never even had heard that. And I've been Catholic now for 27 years. Wow. That's wild when I think about that, because Kyle's 28. Oh no, it's not been that long because he was baptized and it was probably another year before I became Catholic, but still 26 years I've been Catholic. That's crazy and I'm still learning. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. But I also want to share one of my favorite gifts that I got for Christmas from Kevin. My dog sees Kevin out there. So as you know, little girl loves Frozen. Let it go, let it go. Do you love this? Let it go. Best shirt ever. All right, I'm gonna let my dog out. She's driving me nuts. Oh, golly. She's so obnoxious. Sorry if I got all your dogs barking. Okay, I am going to go over a little bit of the Q&A. I don't know how many I'm going to answer. We'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, D, Arizona Stitcher. She said, will the keywords go into a paragraph or sent via email? Already answered that. Already answered that. So that was in Vlogmas 23. I explained all of that. PJ Schroeder, what made you choose watercolor as your medium? Well, I first went to, well, college was different. We tried all different mediums then, but I didn't try watercolor. And also when I went to college, I just got a 2-year associate degree in fine art from the local college. It's nothing fancy. It's not like a bachelor's or anything like that. But that was more about shape and, you know, light and how light plays in art and shadows and, you know, that kind of thing. We did some collage type things. We did all kinds of things, but we didn't do watercolor. Then after I got my associate's degree, I continued learning about art and learning about different mediums because I went to the Flint Institute of Arts. The Flint Institute of Arts is a gold mine for people in the Flint area. They have classes. You can take any kind of, and fiber arts as well. They have, I've taken pastel, I've taken watercolor, I've taken oil, I have taken several different kinds of classes, just pottery, just tons of different things you can do. So I took an oil painting class via the Flint Institute of Arts, and then I took a watercolor class, a beginning watercolor class, and I loved it. So one of the reasons I really love watercolor is because it's quick, it dries quick. I like it because it's a challenge. It's the opposite of what I learned. When you paint with acrylic and you paint with oil, you paint like dark to light, but with watercolor, your white is the color of your paper. You know, you don't paint white. So you're working from light to dark. So I find that fascinating because it's the opposite. And then it's portable. It's easy to transport and take with you because all you need is water. It's just simple. You can paint on paper, and paper is so much thinner than stretch canvas and cradled board. So you can do massive quantities of paintings, and it takes up a fraction of the size that big oil paintings in that, you know. So, and it worked really well for me to do licensing because I was painting, you know, there were a couple years in there we painted 300 paintings a year. And I couldn't, having that on canvas or cradled board or something would have been ridiculous. So second part of her question, she said, on Vlogmas 17, you used a filter in your video between 19 minutes and 15 seconds and 19 minutes and 17 seconds. What did you do to get that effect? I use Final Cut Pro on a Mac. And there's all kinds of different filters you can put on. I mean, I can make it like an old TV where, you know, I mean, there's just all these effects you can use. So I put an effect on it. I don't remember what that video, I didn't go back and look at that video, so I'm not sure exactly what she's talking about. But yeah, any of the effects that you see in any of my videos are done through Final Cut Pro. Pam Seberg, what? My favorite paper is Arches Cold Press. What do you paint on? My favorite paper is Winsor Newton 140 pound cold press. That's my favorite. I do like Arches as well. Same kind of quality. So yeah, that's good. But I like the cold press because it's textured. Hot press is very smooth. So I prefer the texture. Lorraine Zan, do you prefer a fresh tree or artificial? We were just actually having this conversation the other day. We used to get a real tree, and it was always so fun to go and get it because, you know, there was like a horse-drawn, you know, wagon with hay on it, and we would go out, we'd cut our tree down, and then they would bring it back, and, you know, the whole experience was fun. But it was so messy, and then there were some times that we got a live tree that had the root ball on it, and then we actually planted it in our yard. So that was at our old house, and we drive by that old house, our old house sometimes, and those two Christmas trees that we planted in the yard, oh, you know, we look at them, they were blue spruce, and they grow slow, but they're huge now, because this was, you know, we've been in this house 21 years? No, 20 years we've been here. So the trees are 20 years old now, and they're huge, and it's just really, you know, cool to drive by that and know those were our Christmas trees. But no, we have artificial. I've had artificial for a very long time now. I miss the pine smell, but I don't miss the needles dropping everywhere and the poking of putting the ornaments on and getting poked and all that. I don't miss all that. So, Deidre Mullen, would you consider producing a yearly Christmas card? I love that idea. I really do. I'm actually going to check into that. I think that would be so cool. Yeah, and a lot of them that I painted during Vlogmas would make great Christmas cards, so I love that idea. Stitchin 304, she said, would you ever consider making coloring books of your art? I have considered it, and then I decided not to. If I could find a licensee to do it, that'd be one thing. But I have artist friends that have had coloring books published of their art, and it's a lot. She said it was a lot of work for very little money, because if you license it, you just don't make much per book. The other concern for me is people then using that art to, you know, make other things that's not intended for, and you're putting your drawings out there for anyone to use any way that they want to, whether they're supposed to or not. People don't understand. So I don't think I'll ever have a coloring book. I do in Patreon, which I'll have that's linked below in the description box as well. Excuse me. I do give away 2 of my drawings a month in Patreon if you're in tier 3 and 4. Fran Sturgeon, have you ever thought about doing a coffee table book with a bunch of your paintings? I actually did a angel one. I did it a long, long time ago, and it was more for myself, and then I made extra as gifts for family members. But again, that would probably be something that I would license out. I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. I think it would be fun to do one that's angels, one that would be folk art, you know, one would be more primitive. I think that would be really cool. I don't know. I have a really good publisher that I work with now that does our books for my samplers, and I will just check into it and see what it would cost. If it's cost effective, maybe I will do that. I think it's a cool idea. So thank you, Fran. Kathleen O'Grady, if you could spend one day with an artist, who would it be? Ooh, that is a tough one. I adore Royo. He's a Spanish painter in the style kind of Monet. He has beautiful, beautiful paintings, and I would just love to spend a day watching him paint. I think that would be so incredible. Other than him, I don't know. Nothing comes to mind, really. I mean, if it could be anyone, any artist dead or alive, if it could be someone that has passed on, Monet. I was huge into Monet when I was in college, and I had coffee table books of his art, like a few of them. I probably still have them somewhere packed away. But yeah, I love that style of painting. Yeah, I think that would be it. So if it's someone alive, it would be the Spanish painter Royo. If it's someone that's passed on, it would be Monet. And I would love to spend a day with him watching him paint and go through his gardens and listen to him talk about his gardens and stuff. That'd be amazing. Susan Cluck, what is the favorite Christmas tradition you started with your children? I think it's just going to Bronner's. We would go to Bronner's every year. They would visit Santa there. Every year they got to pick out an ornament or two for the tree. And every year when I put them on the tree, I think of them, you know, and I think about the times that we shared going to Bronner's. So yeah, this year, by the way, I wanted to bring that up. We drove past Bronner's this year. I told the boys on Christmas Eve, or I told them before Christmas Eve, but I told them I wanted to leave by noon on Christmas Eve. I didn't know what time the stores closed or anything like that. So they were running late. They both had, well, I know Ryan had a party. Him and his roommate had a party at their house, a Christmas party with a bunch of friends. So needless to say, he stayed up way too late and he slept in. They didn't get here and we were not ready to go until 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. So I start looking online and all the stores closed, Bronner's included, closed at 4, and then most of the restaurants were closed, or the place we wanted to go, they closed at 6. So we were under the gun, you know, this time constraint, and we didn't have time to do Bronner's and the Riverside shopping, outdoor shopping market. So I let the boys decide, and of course they didn't choose Bronner's. So I was really bummed. So that's why that video was extra short. I really didn't record like I wanted to and like I planned to, because if I was in Bronner's, I would have recorded a lot because there's a lot to see there. But I might still make a little trip up there because I didn't get my Grinch ornament because we didn't go to Bronner's. So I'd like to go up there, and I might just do that on my own because then I don't have to worry about anyone being bored. I could just spend the whole day there. No, but a good couple hours I would spend there. Let's see. Karen Price, how old were you when you started painting? Well, I would have been in college because I did not paint before I went to college. I mean, I drew a lot. But yeah, I didn't start painting until I was in college. So I would say 19? No, 18. Did you start drawing as a child? Yes. Do you have formal training? I answered that. Yes. 2 years, associate degree, just from, you know, Mott Community College, just a local college here. Kathy, where are your favorite antique shops? My favorite antique shops are in Ohio. Ohio has amazing antique shops. So my friends and I went 20 years in a row shopping in Ohio. We would go every August and we would spend like 5-6 days shopping in Ohio and go to the Longaberger events and all the things that were going on then. And then once we were all done selling Longaberger, we still would go and check out Dresden, the town that, you know, birthed Longaberger and all of that. And then, you know, we kind of got away from that even. And we just, what's the town, the Amish town in Ohio? We kind of make this big loop. I don't know. If I think of it, I'll put it right here. But anyways, yeah, so we did that for 20 years. And then we missed a year. One of my friends, her daughter came down with leukemia. It was touch and go. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. So we didn't go that year or the next year. And then it kind of just fell apart. Like we didn't do it anymore. So it's probably been 5 or 6 years since we have done that trip. But we are talking about firing it back up, not going 5 or 6 days anymore, but maybe just like a long weekend, 4 days or something like that. But yeah, Tip City has great antiques. And then we would make, well, always Finley. Finley is amazing. That's where Craft Gallery is. That's where I get my things framed, at Craft Gallery in Finley, Ohio. Well, Jeffries is right off the expressway. So whenever I go to Craft Gallery, I hit Jeffries, and I always come out of there with loads of goodies. They always have amazing antiques. But then we'd hit like Tip City, come down to, I can't even think of all the different, Seville Antiques. It's been a long time, so I can't remember all the places we would go. But yeah, we hit all the cool folk art, early American type stores, and any antique store we could find. So yeah, tons of fun. Christine Net, my daughter and I went shopping 2 weeks ago and I came across one of your prints. There's no fun like snow fun. I have been on the lookout for prints, figurines, and any other licensed items. I haven't had much luck. Would you be willing to make a list of the companies you have licensed with in the past? I can make a short list. I mean, I'm not going to make it like a whole list because I worked with like over 50 companies. And a lot of those companies, you're not going to find any of the things. They were consumables like paper plates and napkins and that kind of thing. But like figurines and those kind of things, yes, I could do that. I mean, I can tell you right now, some of them. Blossom Bucket did my figurines. Park Designs, I still work with them. They do tabletop, they do hooked rugs, they do chair pads, floor, hooked runners, all kinds of cool things. And then Legacy Publishing does my calendars. So yeah, I mean, those are ones that I'm actually still working with. So, but yeah, I'll do a little list and I'll put that in the description box below. Lorraine Zan, I adore your fabric prints. Are they still available? My old fabric from when I designed 20 some years ago for South Sea Imports, you can find those old designs. Go to Etsy and put in Teresa quilting fabric, or go to eBay and do the same, or just even in Google. And then I'm designing fabric now for Riley Blake Designs, and I have 2 fabric lines with them right now. Well, I have one that's been shipped. The Halloween one doesn't ship until the spring. So, Leslie O'Brien, have you ever wanted to travel to the birthplace of Jesus? Not so much there. Where I would like to go, where I would really like to go is Medjugorje. I think it's called Medjugorje. I don't know. I'm terrible with how to say that, but it's where Mary has appeared over and over to people, and it's where people come from all over the world, and they go there, and there's healings that take place, there's miracles that take place still to this day. I would love to travel to there. I would like to go there. That would be amazing. I wonder if I can knock the rest of these out. I'm gonna do at least one more page. Okay. Pam Rafala, where do you get your inspiration? I have said this before. God has just filled me with this innate ability to just constantly have ideas flying around in my head. I have to give all the credit to him because I don't know where it comes from, but I have more ideas in my head. Let's put it this way. I have more ideas in my sketchbooks than I could ever possibly paint or, make into cross stitch. I have more artwork that has been painted, more than I could ever make into cross stitch or punch needle. And I'm still sketching all the time. I still have tons of inspiration. I love early American folk art. I love adding scripture into my paintings or quotes from amazing men, from the past. I love folk art, primitive kind of, I like whimsical art. I love painting my angels. It's like, that's why my business name is called Creative Whims, is because I'm kind of all over the place. I go where my whims take me, and it might be early American folk art one week, and the next week I might paint an angel. So, you know, I find inspiration everywhere, to tell you the truth. Joyce Andrews, did you take lessons on painting, or did it come naturally to you as you were growing up? I didn't take any lessons as a child. I just always colored and was drawing. I have this funny memory of one of my best friends still to this day, Vicky. She grew up about 1.5 miles from my house, maybe 2 miles. And she was over all the time, or I was at her house all the time. We met in kindergarten. We were 6 years old. So her birthday is December 28th. My birthday is December 31st. So we're only 3 days apart. We were probably in the hospital at the same time. We met in kindergarten, and we've been friends ever since. Isn't that just very unique? It's a very unique friendship, and I treasure it. Well, I always wanted to color. Always. Let's color. Let's draw. You know, and she's like, really? You know, like, I just assumed everybody was like me and wanted to do that, you know? So yeah, I think it comes natural to me. It's one of those things where creativity comes easily to me. I don't get a creative block necessarily. Like some artists get a creative block or a writer's block. You've heard of that. I don't have that. I have more ideas than I can possibly bring to life. So that is not an issue for me. And then that along those same lines, I want to say that, you know, there's some people that struggle with drawing or whatever, but they can hone their skills and become an amazing artist. Okay. And then there's people that it comes easy to. Same with music. There are some guitarists that are just born to play and shred the guitar, and they're amazing and it comes easy to them. And then there's other people that end up being great guitarists, but they had to really, really work for it. Piano players too. Same thing. It's just some people are natural at it. Some people have to work extra hard at it. So I am lucky that I just fell into the category of it comes easy to me, and I'm grateful for that. Sorry, I had to put some lip stuff on. I kept licking my lips, and I'm like, they don't want to see that. All right, so where are we at? Kathy Huff, when did you get into art and who influenced you? When did I get into art? Well, you know, I took some art classes in high school, and just anything creative. I'm still like that. Like, I want to learn to quilt. I mean, I've made 2 quilts, but I want to be really good at it. I want to be really good at doing wool applique. Anything that is creative, I want to devour it. I want to learn it. I want to get good at it, you know? So I have never lost that. So when did I get into art? I would have to say in high school. I mean, I went to college I went to Ferris just to get like my basics, and I think I did end up taking an art class there just for fun. I did. But I was only at Ferris for a very short time, and then I came back home, and then I went to U of M Flint for, it was physical therapy. I'm like, that would be really good money. It would be, you know, steady income. You know, I think that would be good for me, because I still, at this point, I don't think I can make a living as an artist, okay? So I went to my first class, and they were very blunt and honest and said, if you don't think you can make people do stuff when they are in pain and maybe even crying because it hurts so bad, but you still have to make them do it, if you don't think you're cut out to do that, you don't want to be a physical therapist. I dropped out after that class because I'm like, I can't do that. If someone is crying in pain, I'm not going to make them do something. I can't. That is not me. I can't do it. So I hem-hawed around on different things that I could possibly make a living at, okay? wanted, it was, at that point, it was about money. It wasn't about what was going to bring me satisfaction or what was I going to love doing, waking up every morning and going to do. That was not on my radar. It was about making money. What can I make good money at? So finally, after, you know, trying different things and just knowing I would hate my life. It's terrible. I am a creative person, and if I am not creating, I am not happy. I will tell you that right straight out the gate. So I talked to my parents and I said, I want to be an artist. That's all I want to do. And they were so amazing and supportive because, you know, that's starving artist days. That was before the internet. You know, you had to do shows and you had to, you know, the goal was to get your stuff into a gallery because that's how you had to do it. Now, though, it's crazy when I look back over my career, but, you know, you don't have to be in a gallery to be a successful artist. With the internet now, with Etsy, with all the different things that you can do with your creativity, yeah, it's way, way easier nowadays. So, and then who influenced me? Athena. We don't want to hear you licking. No sound effects today, please. Who influenced me? None of my friends are artists. Like, there was really, like, I didn't meet a person that was an artist and then I said, oh, I want to be like them. I didn't have that in my life at all. I mean, my mom, she did toll painting. She didn't knit. She did crochet. She used to crochet quite a bit. I think those were the only two things. Toll painting. Yeah. You know, so she did some creative things along the way. But yeah, it was just in me from the get-go. Cindy Lycan, did you ever struggle to find ideas for your paintings, or are there always ideas floating around in your head? I just talked about that, but they're always, I know, more like do. But yeah, they're always there. Thank you, Lord. Beverly Shaver, were you always talented at drawing, or is it something you developed over time with practice? Well, I mean, definitely I got better as I went along too. You know, I look back at my early days, especially when I first started Primitive Folk, and my drawings were very rudimentary also, but that was the style I was going for. I was kind of going for that primitive look, so I didn't want a lot of detail, I didn't want a lot of color. But it's fun to look back through. Matter of fact, I mean, just like with anything, you get better with practice, correct? So yeah, I mean, my art has evolved drastically. I have, hold on one second. No, I don't have my real old. Someday, when I find one of my really old catalogs, I will share that with you. But I do have an old catalog here. Let's see, this is here's 1996. So new releases, January 1996. These were some of my paintings. Take the time to smell the roses, my grandmother said to me. This was actually something that my grandmother did say to me. It was my dad's grandma in Missouri, or my dad's mom, I'm sorry, in Missouri. I had an ongoing angel line. They were all limited edition. That was the feathered angel. And then Let Love Rain. That was one of my best-selling prints. And then there's another angel. I think that's the teddy bear. Teddy bear angel. 8x10 limited to 5,000. And that's the 5th piece in the angel collection. Okay, so these are a little bit older. These here are little miniatures I did. These are 3x3s and 3x5s. So you can see they're very, very simple. So those square ones are just little 3x3 framed pieces, and then the 4 at the bottom are 3x5s. And then over here, oh my gosh, this is really hard to do. So there's my basket angel, snow buddies. I think I showed that original painting. Winter greens, apples and mums. So anyway, these are some of my older pieces. Oh, I love this guy, Mr. Felt. And then here is new releases, 1997. Forget Me Not. I actually still have those in cards. American flag, baskets and bees. That would be cute as a cross stitch. And then there's some more of the angels, the bunny angel, feline angel, American heart. Along the Picket Fence, that was another one of my best sellers. So there you go. $2005, yeah, so as you can see from those prints, that's when we were, you know, primitive folk was pretty big for us, and we sold everything under glass in nice frames. That, yeah, so that was a big part of my career. Christy Dane, you obviously have a very strong faith. Did you grow up in a house that valued it, or did it come to you later in life? My family valued their faith. My parents brought my brother and I up in a church that was very close to our home. It was a Presbyterian church, and my parents were all in, like, to the point where we cleaned the churches. We cleaned the church on Saturday. On Sunday, the pastor and his wife, not every Sunday, but, you know, at least once a month, the pastor and his wife would come over for Sunday dinner. My mom and dad were on the softball league. I mean, we were all in. It was our life. You know, all of my parents' friends, and, you know, they were all through the church. Where that changed was my mom's mom and dad bought a place on a lake up north. So we would go up there on the weekends, and we quit going to church. And I remember I loved going to church as a kid, and I can remember my dad and I went a couple times when we were home and not up north, because I cried. I wanted to go to church, and my dad and I would go. And that didn't last, you know, real long, because it's weird to go without your whole family. So yeah, so I was probably, I'm going to say, like, maybe 10 years old when that happened. So I didn't go to church from 10 years old until Kevin and I were married. And I was married at 21. So yeah. For like 11 years, I didn't go to church. And then I became Catholic, and I talked about that earlier. So, how did you get started with your art? The reason I got started with my art and made it my career is because I was working for, it was called Rapid Design Company, and it was drawing automotive parts and, like, posters and things that would be hung in, I mean, we're a GM town, Flint, Michigan. You know, that's how my mom and dad met, was working together on the line in Flint, Michigan. That's how they met. And so we would draw these exploded views of, you know, how to take something apart on the vehicle, you know, and it would have the part number. We'd have to put the part number on there and all this. And they were these big posters. And that was not creative enough for me. Plus, I worked with all men. I think there were 3 women in this entire company. And I wanted to, Kevin and I wanted to start a family. We wanted to have kids, and I didn't want to work outside the home once we had kids. So I said, you know, why don't I start working on my art career now before we have kids, and so that I can contribute to the family income. So I quit my job there, and then I think the following summer I applied for a lot of art shows and craft shows, and at that point I was doing watercolors, but it wasn't country at all. It was all kinds of different things, but it wasn't country looking at all. So that's how that got started, and that's why. Let's see. As a child, were you naturally drawn to painting? Okay, talked about that. That was from Cheryl March. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, everyone, by the way, for these questions. Stitching with Charlie. Are you going to convert your angel paintings to cross-stitch anytime soon? I have converted them. Not all of them, obviously, but I have... The first 2 was Angelic Vision and Pray. And I have In Command, which is the purple angel. And then I have a couple other ones. So I have probably 5 or 6 already in my lineup. If you go to my Etsy shop, which is a link below in the description box, you can go there and then just type in the search bar, you know, angel cross stitch or just angels, and see, you know, you'll see them there. That is a continuing line, you know, part of my cross stitch library. I plan on continuing to expand. Susan from Colorado, when did you realize you were given the gift to draw and paint, and did it take courage for you to start a business? How did you start? I just talked about that, but I'll tell you one thing. I am fearless. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm fearless when it comes to like starting a business. I was not nervous about it all. When I did the wholesale show, you know, I went from doing these retail art shows, and how that kind of developed is I was at... this could be really long. So I started out doing art shows with watercolor, doing florals in little girls, like realistic little girls. They were really pretty paintings. I started out doing that. Then I met my friend Jan, and she has a very country primitive folk art house. And I fell in love with that whole look. So then I started painting that kind of a thing. Americana, you know, teddy bears, bunnies, all these, that kind of a look. And I loved that. So then I started doing craft shows because it worked more for craft shows than it did for art shows. And I happened to be at a craft show in towards Ann Arbor, Michigan. And there's a store down there called the Dixboro General Store. And I was painting these really cool old world Santas in watercolor. They were 8x10s. They were matted and framed. And a gentleman came in and he bought one for his wife, and he said, "Do you wholesale your work?" And I said, "I don't even know what that means. What do you mean wholesale?" He said, "Well, it's where you would sell to stores and you would make so much, and then the store would mark it up, and then they would make, you know, so much. You would get the wholesale part of the payment or the price or whatever." And so he explained it to me, and he said, "Hey, after the show, come on down to the shop and we'll talk, you know." So I did that, and that's what sparked me selling wholesale. So then I went store to store. Any store I could drive to within an hour, I was peddling my wares. I was taking my watercolor paintings all framed up, and I was going to stores and showing them and offering them to buy them wholesale right there on the spot. And that's how I started that whole thing. Then I happened to be out one time. In the meantime, we had Kyle. Okay, so Kyle was born in 1993. My dad, that was when my dad had prostate cancer, and he was off work. So my mom worked at the high school, Kersley High School, and she was a bus driver. So for me to go sell my wares, my dad would watch Kyle. So I happened to be out in Owasso, Michigan, which is about 45 minutes from where I lived. And I happened to go there when the shop owners were gone at a trade show. And I said to the ladies, I'm like, well, what is a trade show? And they said, oh, well, they go a couple times a year to Market Square out in Pennsylvania. And it's a show where everyone is selling wholesale to shops like our shop. And they sell to shops all across the country and beyond. And I'm like, what? Really? I want to be there. I should be there. And they're like, well, you know what? Wait about a week and come back and talk to the owners. I'm sure they'll fill you in on all the information. Sure enough, I waited a week. I went back out there and they told me how to enter. They gave me the website and everything. And actually, I think that was even before like we had a computer. Like we didn't have a computer. No. They gave me the phone number. That's what it was. And I called. They mailed me an application. I sent in photos of my work and I mailed the application back in. I got in the show and I went. That's like where it all started. I started going to Market Square and that's where Primitive Folk just blew up. And that's how that whole thing happened. That was a long answer. Becky Cone, when did you realize you could paint so beautifully? Well, thank you so much. But yeah, I have already talked about that. Vicky M, I'm a fairly new watcher. Well, welcome, Vicky. And I'm amazed that you convert your paintings to cross stitch. Which came first, painting or cross stitch? Definitely painting. If you would have told me 20 years ago that I would be designing cross stitch, I would have laughed you out of the room. Like I would have said, what are you talking about? There's no way. I did not know how to cross stitch. I thought cross stitch was a thing of the past. I really didn't know anything about it. Plus I wasn't in the needle arts, the needlework market at that time either. I wasn't even doing punch needle at that time. I was strictly just doing painting. So yeah, I would have just never dreamed I would be where I'm at. But you know what? That's what I love about my business, is that it has taken me down paths I would have never dreamed of. Last one for today, Diane Curran, she said, is there a time of day or night that you are most inspired with ideas and creativity? That's a really good question. I don't really have a time of day that I'm more creative. I would say I'm a morning person though. I love my mornings. I get up before everyone else. I always have, by an hour or two, and I love that quiet time. It's before the phone rings. It's before everything comes alive and wakes up and, you know, distracts me type of thing. So I have my coffee and, you know, so that's my favorite time of the day. At nighttime, I'm usually more tired and, you know, probably not my most creative time. And then during the day, I'm so busy running the business that I don't really have time to like sit and sketch or something like that. So I'm going to answer that with morning. Okay, so I am done. Let me just put start here. I'm going to resume these questions at a later date, maybe next week or even later this week, depending on how the week goes. But thank you so much for your questions, and congratulations again to the winners. So contact me. You have until Wednesday at midnight. If I don't hear from you, I will be drawing other names. So email me the list of 22 keywords, and also pick out which painting you want. So if you go back to Vlogmas number 23, I show all 9 paintings. Pick out which one you want. And obviously the first person I chose, they get first pick. If 2 people pick the same painting, you know, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. So thank you guys for being here with me today. And Vlogmas is not in the books yet. We still have more to do. Bye.